high agency is, in my opinion, the most under-discussed and most important idea in, let's say, the 21st century. This is actually the most simple way of defining high agency, is, are they happening to life, or is life happening to them? So what you'll ultimately, anybody who you would call to break you out of a third world jail, you would define as happening to life. The people that you would be least likely to break you out of a third world jail are the ones that life is happening to them. And then once you begin to see that spectrum, it's such a more simple, like Occam's razor of really understanding high agency. And fundamentally, this isn't, it can be like a nice, okay, this is a cool like self-help concept, but actually agency is bigger than that. Out of the 6 to 7 million species on Earth, human beings are the only ones capable of agency. In the known universe of what we know, and by the way, we only know this via agency, we are the only thing that we know of capable of agency. Even today, like we are sat in a studio in London, and I was listening to David Deutsch explain this concept of, we're in London today, and it's only thanks to agency, because it's December right now in London, that me and you aren't dead within 2 to 3 hours, because it's the clothes that we wear, human agency, it's the heating here. Like the UK itself is a product of agency, of human agency, because without clothing, which we kind of born into and assume it's always been a thing, but no, it was the result of human agency. Without heating, another thing that we just take completely for granted, the UK would not be possible. But we are the only species that is fundamentally capable of happening to life. Everything is basically an agency issue. Like when you actually, one of the fundamental beliefs I think of around high agency is that all problems are solvable. And once you begin to take that on board, as long as it doesn't defy the laws of physics, like this isn't self-help, it's physics, all problems are solvable with enough knowledge. It's not that problems don't happen. It's that fundamentally all problems are solvable. So, and it all comes down to agency. Like cancer, as horrific as it is, and it happens to people, it's truly horrific, but it's ultimately at a humanity level, it's an agency problem. When I was thinking about high agency originally, I had 4 things that underpin it. So if you imagine high agencies like this table here, and then you have the 4 legs, the 4 things that I think underpin it are clear thinking, resourcefulness, bias to action, and disagreeability. General ambition gives you anxiety, specific ambition gives you direction. If you look at the vague trap and how often it comes up, it's because of just, even the question he asked there, it's just it's a complete lack of clear thinking. It's just like muddy thinking is what I call it, is just like vague GIFs in my head, or like JPEGs or words that are popping up. And it's never going, what does that mean? Like a great example would be, how can I be happy? It's probably the vaguest question that's ever existed. And if you just view the brain as a questioning answering device that we're constantly asking questions, and you basically, it's like asking a computer just an endless loop that never closes, and it just completely expands into infinity, which then leads to this anxiety. But let's say, for example, okay, example of general question, how can I be happy? Specific question would be, what does my dream week look like hour by hour? What does my nightmare week look like hour by hour? Where am I right now between the two? And then what's the easiest first step to move up that? That's so much more specific versus like a general thing. And I think that's probably the biggest sign I notice whenever I'll get a DM, whether it's a personal thing or a business thing. The easiest questions to answer, or the best people, are always, I mean, the most high agency people, it tends to be super specific. I've tried A, B, C, D, E. I saw that you mentioned F. I've done this specific thing here. Yeah. This problem happened here. What do you think? Versus, hey mate, like I want to do this. Anything? Question mark. Yeah. Like it's so vague, and as a result, it's so boundless that you could almost never apply knowledge because it's too general. But this idea, I think, in the social media age of you have to do X, or you have to do A, you have to do B, you have to do C, or whatever it is, there fundamentally is no way apart from the way that works. Does it defy the laws of physics? Question. Because, okay, going back to the brain is a question answering device. So if you say, why, or what's great about my life? It'll start finding answers. If you say, what's awful about my life? It will start finding answers. And let's say we go to a venue together and the guy on the front door says, sorry, not tonight, mate. And then you go, okay, accept that social reality. And it's, well, does it fundamentally defy the laws of physics? Does it go against Newton's laws of motion, defy Einstein's relativity? No. And that point sounds trite, but when you actually begin to understand that, well, you go, well, as long as it doesn't defy the laws of physics, anything is theoretically possible with human knowledge. And again, it sounds trite saying that, but you just look at the last few hundred years since the Enlightenment, and you have this period before it where nothing happened in humanity. We would just, your great-great-great-great-great-great-great-granddad's life looked the same as yours. And meanwhile, we have this change and the ability for humans to understand how things work and implement it into reality and happen to life and shape their environment that we just now completely take for granted, like me getting annoyed at the flat Diet Coke on the Emirates flight, is a big thing. The second thing, which is probably a little less esoteric, that I really, really like as a metaphor, is when you're in the complete low agency and everything is super general, and it's like, I don't even know where to begin. I don't even know where to start. One thing I love doing, a little experiment I got, was going, okay, let's say have a problem right now I had a friend at the minute who he's an extreme, but a friend we both know actually, he's an extreme workaholic to a point that I've never seen before. And he was talking about how it's a problem. He just doesn't know where to start. And I said to him, I go, okay, where are you at right now out of 10? And it suddenly takes this kind of general infinite universe all the way down to, okay, well, a bit of a binary choice. I'm at a 3. And I go, okay. And I go, why are you at a 3, by the way? Like, why aren't you at a 2? And he goes, to be honest with you, because I've actually like not worked tonight, I've come here to see you. I go, okay, so we're getting some specificity here. And I go, okay, well, what would take it up to a 4? And he goes, well, if I left the office before 8 p.m, I'd give that a 4. I go, okay, great. I've got a little step there. I go, what would take it to a 5? What would take it to a 6, 7, 8, 9, 10? And I go, okay, first off, let's just do the 4 immediately. And then as soon as you have that, you have momentum. One of the things I love, and I'll probably put it in the piece of like a template that people can use, is just what I call the video game Apple Note. So you have, let's say, for example, to-do list in Apple Note, build a website. The problem with that is that's starting the video game on level 56. So I had this fascinating realization that one person that I knew was the laziest person I've ever met, couldn't like open his mail. I couldn't get out of bed and like make himself some food, but was one of the best video game players at that specific game in the world. I would spend 16 hours a day on this video game. And I go, well, do they have an agency problem? Or is their reality just a poorly designed video game? So the video game Apple Note is just level 1, let's say whatever it is, whether it's from opening mail to going to Kitty Hawk and taking the planes into the sky, there's always a level 1. And that's what video games are incredible at, that they adapt to where you're at and then just slowly move you up. Again, completely the opposite of school. So level 1 is always just dump down thoughts on topic. And what I love about that is no matter how complex the thing is, from curing cancer to flying planes to opening the mail, you can always dump down thoughts. And then you check it off. And level 2 is create the next 5 levels based off level 1. And what's beautiful is when you check level 1, level 1's small enough to start, but isn't overwhelming. So you have that video game bit of dopamine. Then when you check it off, you're like, let's go.
Progress.
I'm on level 2.
Yeah.
And then each step is enough. So key thing with video game design is it's enough of a step to feel a challenge, but without overwhelm. And if it's too big of a step, like level 56, build website, that's too big of a step. You just are constantly in frustration, so you just quit the video game. It's a terribly designed video game, but breaking things down into micro steps is such a key thing in video game design and ultimately increasing agency. If you can figure out ways that you can constantly make that first step, because 50% of the battle is that first step.